Good afternoon.
Hello, everybody.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon,
sir.
sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you all?
Fine, sir.
Good, sir.
That's nice. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Now we have 141 participants. Shall we start the session?
Yes, sir.
Who is this? Vivek Vardhan 114? Is Vivek Vardhan is available right now?
Sir, I'm sorry, sir.
What was the message which you posted there?
Sir, I'm sorry, sir.
Huh?
I'm sorry, sir.
Open your video,
Sir,
on your video camera. What's wrong with
sir,
you?
sorry. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So today we will discuss about the hip bone. So you all know that hip bone is also called as the innominate bone. So innominate bone means which doesn't have any particular name to denote. It is because it is innominate because it doesn't have any particular shape to denote. So that's the reason the example of the hip bone is Under the classification of the bones, if you remember, the bones are,
Irregular.
yeah, the bones are classified into irregular bones, short bones, long bones, and so on. In the irregular bones, we have this hip bone as an example, because it doesn't have any particular shape to denote, so that this bone is also called as innominate bone. So as we ended with the upper limb, now we are going to start with the lower limb. So in the lower limb, first initially we will start with the osteology part. So in the osteology part, the first bone which we discuss in the lower limb is the hip bone. Now in the slide, you're seeing two bones. See, this is the bone which is on to the left of your screen. This bone, can anybody know what is this bone called as?
Ilium.
No, this to the left of your screen. In your screen, left,
Sacrum.
this entire bone is called as what?
Pelvic bone.
Pelvic girdle.
Pelvic girdle.
This is
Hip
called as-
bone.
no, this is not hip bone. This is called as bony pelvis. This complete bone which you are seeing, this is called as bony pelvis. Now this bony pelvis is formed by, this is a sacrum, and this is one hip bone, which is the left hip bone, and this is the right hip bone. So this right hip bone, left hip bone, sacrum together forms the bony pelvis. And the bone which you see on to the right of your screen, this one, this bone is a hip bone. This is an individual bone which is the right hip bone. And this right hip bone, here you can see the articulation with the head of the femur, which articulates to form a ball and socket variety of synovial joint, which is hip joint. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Now this bone is the femur. This is a femur. The femur, the head of the femur articulates with this, this fossa, which is called as the acetabular fossa of the hip bone, which articulates with this and forms a joint which is called as hip joint. Now for today's session, we are gonna discuss about this bone which is called as the hip bone. So as you all know that whenever you study about a bone, you have to know few important things, like what is that bone? The identification of that bone is most important. After identification of the bone, you have to know its side determination, whether it belongs to right or left. After that, you should be able to hold the bone in anatomical position. After knowing these three basic things, then you need to know about its features and attachments, followed by the parts of the bone, then so on about its ossification, and finally you need to talk about its clinical aspects. So the three basic things what you people have to know is, number one is identify the bone, number two is side determination, number three is the anatomical position. These are the four most important things you must know about a bone, whatever you hold in your hand. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Is my voice is audible? Are you able to hear my voice clearly, or do you have any problem in it? Anybody facing any problem with my voice, or it is audible?
It is audible, sir. Audible,
Yeah, that's nice. So today the bone which we are discussing is about the hip bone. This one. This is the hip bone. As I said, this is an innominate bone because it doesn't have any particular shape to denote. And this hip bone has got different parts. It is made up of three parts. One is the larger fan shaped part, which is called as ilium. And this is the part which is anterior part. This is called as the pubis. And this posterior part, this is called as the ischium. So ilium, pubis, ischium. These are the three parts which forms this hip bone. So hip bone is formed by three parts. Ilium. What is this?
Ischium.
What is it?
Pubis.
Pubis. So ilium, ischium, pubis. These three parts will fuse together to form this bone, which we call this as the hip bone. And we have two hip bones. One is a right hip bone. Number two is the left hip bone. These right and left hip bones anteriorly, they fuse with each other here. Can you see here this joint?
Yes, sir.
Pubic symphysis. So this pubis of right and pubis of left are fused in the midline, forming a secondary cartilaginous joint, which is the pubic symphysis. And posteriorly, these hip bones are fused with the sacrum, forming the sacroiliac joint. And together this, we call this as the bony pelvis. Bony pelvis. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, as I said, first identification you have done. So identification you have done like this is a hip bone. So whenever you see this bone, everybody should be able to identify this is a hip bone. Everybody's clear with this part?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think there is no boys in the class. I can hear only the girls replying to me.
Sir, it's very clear.
Huh? Nah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So whenever you look at this bone, you should be able to identify this is a hip bone. Then next thing is that after identifying this bone, you have to know whether this bone belongs to right or this bone belongs to left. So in order to determine the side of a bone, there are some features. So you can see on slide, I have 4 major points which have been displayed to you to identify the side of the hip bone. So first point is that the upper and lower parts of hip bones are expanded. If you see, this is expanded part or not?
Yes, sir.
Here also you can see some expanded part.
Yes, sir.
So this hip bone, it has got upper expanded part, lower expanded part, and the middle constricted part. Yes or no? This is expanded
Yes, sir.
part. This is expanded part. In the middle, it is constricted. So hip bone is having 2 expanded parts, one upper, one lower, and in the middle it is constricted. Number 1. Number 2 is the expanded part with foramen is inferior. If you see here, this is one expanded part. Do you find any foramen here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Lower, this is also expanded part. You have any foramen here?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
So what is second point is telling? The expanded part with foramen is inferior. So you have to place this expanded part with foramen inferiorly, not like this. Don't put it like this. Okay. So the expanded part with foramen should be placed inferiorly. It has to place inferiorly. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Ah.
Sir.
The other expanded part without foramen, which is called as ilium, it has to be placed superiorly. So expanded part, which is called as ilium, has to be placed superiorly without any foramen. The expanded part with the foramen, this foramen is called as obturator foramen. This foramen is called as what?
Obturator foramen.
Obturator foramen. So the expanded part of the hip bone with the foramen has to be placed inferiorly. And the other expanded part, which is a fan shaped, which is called as ilium, has to be placed superiorly. This point is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. And next thing is that in the middle constricted part, you see a halo, this one, a depression. Can you see this one? Can you see
Yes,
this
sir.
one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This hollow depression is called as acetabular fossa. This is called as acetabular fossa. So this acetabular fossa, always you should face it laterally. It has to face it laterally, not medially. It should not face medially. It has to face laterally. So upper expanded part, ilium, lower expanded part with the foramen inferiorly. This acetabular fossa, which you see in the middle constricted part, this has to face laterally. And after this, this pubis, the lower part of the hip bone has a thin part which is called as pubis, which has to place anteriorly. Ischium has to place posteriorly. Ischium has to place posteriorly. So with these 3 points or with these 4 points, one will be able to identify the side of this bone. Now the bone which I am holding in my hand is the left hip bone, because the upper expanded part, fan shape without any foramen, is placing superiorly. The lower expanded part with the obturator foramen is placing inferiorly. The obturator foramen is this one. Sorry, the acetabular fossa. This is facing laterally. The pubis is facing anteriorly. Ischium is facing posterior towards me. So that with these points, I can say, and I am confident that this is a left hip bone. Now the same hip bone, if I put in my left hand, if in my right hand, and we will discuss, we will see how it goes on. The upper expanded part is, what happened? The upper expanded part is, ilium is above, yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The lower expanded part with the foramen is below. Okay, satisfied?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next thing is what? The acetabular fossa.
Must be
Yes.
laterally placed.
Sorry.
Laterally placed.
Lateral.
So I am placing it laterally.
Yes,
I am
sir.
placing it laterally. Yes. So second point is also satisfied. What is the third point?
Pubis posteriorly, ischium anteriorly.
Now here what is happening? The ischium is facing anteriorly. The ischium is facing anteriorly. The pubis is facing posteriorly. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I make pubis anteriorly, ischium posteriorly, yes. Now the pubis is facing anteriorly, ischium is facing posteriorly. Acetabular fossa is facing laterally. But here, what is happening?
Ilium is
Ilium is facing below.
Inferior.
This
Obturated foramen is facing superiorly.
superior. So this is wrong. So this is not a right hip bone. This is a left hip bone. If you hold this in left hand and if you make all these points, then only you will be satisfying all the points which were displayed, and you will know whether this is a right hip bone or a left hip bone. Is it clear, everybody?
yes, sir.
With these points, one can easily identify the side of the bone, whether it is a right hip bone or a left hip bone. Till now, anybody has got a doubt in determining the side? If so, please let me know so that we will discuss once again.
Sir, once please.
See, are you able to see the video of mine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This upper expanded part, which is called as the ilium, has to be placed above. This lower expanded part with the foramen has to be placed inferiorly. This acetabular fossa has to face laterally. This thin part, which is called as pubis, has to place anteriorly. Ischium, which is this one. This is ischium. This is pubis. This pubis should face anteriorly. This ischium should face posteriorly. So with these 3 points, one can able to identify the side of this hip bone. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, after knowing the side of this bone, now it is very important to hold the bone in position. Hold the bone in anatomical position. So in order to hold the bone in anatomical position, we have again two things. One is, this one, the anterior superior iliac spine and the pubic tubercle. Now everybody see here, this is anterior superior iliac spine and this is the pubic tubercle. So this anterior superior iliac spine and the pubic tubercle, both they have to lie in same plane vertical. They have to be in the same plane vertically. This pubic tubercle and the anterior superior iliac spine, both these things should lie in a same plane, same vertical plane. Number one. Number two is the anterior, or number two is the ischial spine and the upper border of the symphysis pubis or pubic symphysis lies in the same horizontal plane like this. This is the ischial spine. This ischial spine and the pubic symphysis, they have to lie in same horizontal plane. Same horizontal plane. So you have to hold the bone in such a way that the anterior superior iliac spine and the pubic tubercle, both they have to lie in the same vertical plane, and the ischial spine and the pubic symphysis has to lie in the same horizontal plane. This will make you to hold the bone in anatomical position. Now you can see in the slide also. So this is the anterior superior iliac spine and this is the pubic tubercle. So they should lie in a same plane vertically, and the pubic symphysis and the ischial spine, they have to lie in the same plane horizontally. So if you make these two lines lie in horizontal and vertical planes, then that will give you to hold the bone in anatomical position. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
See, these things will be very easy for you when you hold the bone in hand. See, osteology is like a practical session. Because of due to this pandemic situation, we are taking this in theory. In fact, osteology sessions will be taken in practical, because it will be very easy for you and very comfortable for you when you hold the bone and when you study. Like how the other bones, what we have studied in SGD, right? In the SGD groups, we have studied the bones holding in our hand. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that kind of study, this osteology should be studied in small group discussions, and it's a practical session. Like practical means definitely you need to study the bone holding in your hand. Then only it will be very, very effective, and that will make you understand very easily whatever the point I am discussing. So here, to hold the bone in anatomical position, one should know what is the anterior superior iliac spine. Anterior superior iliac spine is nothing but this is the iliac crest. This is called as iliac crest. This is ilium. So this upper convex part of the ilium is called as iliac crest. The anterior end of the iliac crest is called as anterior superior iliac spine. So this anterior superior iliac spine and the pubic tubercle, this is the pubis. This is a pubis bone. This is a superior ramus of pubis bone. So exactly at the body of the pubis, you are seeing a tubercle. This is called as pubic tubercle. So this this pubic tubercle and this anterior superior iliac spine, if you draw a line, they should be in a same way. They should be in a same line vertically. And if you draw a line horizontally from the ischial spine, from the ischial spine to the pubic symphysis, they should lie in same line. So these two lines will make this bone to lie in anatomical position. Is it clear? So in this diagram also you can see it very clearly. This part entire is ilium. This blue color part is called as ischium, and this ischium has got posteriorly a spine which is called as ischial spine. So if you draw a line from ischial spine to the pubic symphysis, they should lie in a same line, same horizontal plane. And this is red color structure which is called as pubis. And this pubis, here you have an elevation which is called as pubic tubercle. So this pubic tubercle and anterior superiliac spine, they should lie in same vertical plane, and that will make the hip bone to lie in anatomical position. So yeah, after knowing the anatomical position, then we will talk about the features and attachments of the hip bone. So what features? So what are the features and attachment? As you all know that this hip bone is made up of three parts. One is the ilium. Number two is the, yes,
Pubis.
Ischium pubis.
ischium and pubis. See, for today's session, I will talk only about the ilium. I will just explain you about the ilium. The pubis and ischium I will take later on. But today I will only focus on the ilium. Okay, because what happens in this virtual session, if I teach you all the three parts of this bone, it will take a lot of time, number one. And because I have to repeat each and every line thrice and twice and thrice, so that it will take a lot of time and it will also land up you in some confusion. So that's the reason I am taking this hip bone in two sessions. In today's session, I will talk only about the ilium, its all attachments and features. And the next session, I will talk about the pubis and ischium in coming next day. So is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
so this ilium, now I'm talking only about this part. This is the ilium. So this ilium, if you see, this ilium is formed, it forms the upper fan shaped expanded part of the hip bone. Okay, you can see in the slide also this almost all brick red color. Can you see this? This entire thing is the hip bone. Sorry, this entire thing is the ilium. Okay, this brick red color is the ilium, which is the lateral view, and this is the medial view. Okay, so it forms the upper fan shaped expanded part of the hip bone. Number two, it has two ends. It has two ends. One is the upper end. This entire thing is the upper end, and here this is the lower end. See where I have put my finger, this is the lower end. Let me make it clear. This entire thing is upper end, and here this is the lower end. This part. Can you see here? This is the lower end, and this entire thing is upper end. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
So this entire thing is upper end. This is the lower end of the ilium. Clear? Then not only that, it has three borders. It has got three borders. See, this is the anterior border. This is the posterior border. Is it clear? This is the anterior border. This is the posterior border. Okay. Then we have the medial side. This is the medial border. In the slide, I will show you also. See, this is the anterior border. This is the posterior border. And this is the medial border. This is medial side, right? This is the medial border. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Again, I repeat, this is upper end. This is lower end. This is anterior border. This is posterior border. And this is the medial border. So how many borders it has got?
3 borders.
Yeah, 3 borders, anterior, posterior, and medial. 2 ends, upper end and lower end. And it has got 2 surfaces, which is, this is a lateral surface. This is a medial surface. This is lateral surface. This is medial surface. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Because this is facing laterally. If you hold the bone in position, this is lateral surface. Acetabular fossa is facing laterally. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Acetabular fossa is facing laterally. So this surface of ilium is lateral surface. This surface of ilium is medial surface, or it is also called as pelvic surface. Medial surface or pelvic surface. So the upper end, this is upper end of the ilium, which is also called as iliac crest. It is also called as iliac crest. This is upper end. And the mark which I have made with the chalk, this is the lower end of the ilium. This is the anterior border of ilium. This is the posterior border of the ilium. Okay. And this surface is lateral surface, and this surface is medial surface. So we have 2 surfaces, 3 borders, 2 ends. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now we will go in detail about each and every feature of the ilium. So first we'll talk about the ends. As you all know that it has 2 ends. One is the upper end, number 2 is the lower end. So we will talk about the upper end. As I said, upper end is also called as iliac crest. This one. This is upper end and this is called as iliac crest. Do you know this? So this is the iliac crest. The upper end is also called as iliac crest. And not only that, it is convex upwards in vertical plane. So in the vertical plane, if you see vertically upwards, it is convex. It is convex. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in the vertical plane, when you see from above, it is convex. So this upper end is also called as iliac crest, and it is convex upwards in vertical plane. In horizontal plane, if you see like this, in horizontal plane, if you see, this is concave anteriorly. You see here. It is concave anteriorly and convex posteriorly. Can you see here like this? In horizontal plane, this is concave. So anterior it is concave, posterior it is convex. Posterior it is convex. So in the horizontal plane, if you observe, this hip bone is concave anteriorly and convex posteriorly. But from superiorly, if you see, this entire iliac crest, it is convex. So when you see from above or in a vertical plane, this iliac crest seems to be convex, whereas in horizontal plane, it is seen concave anteriorly and convex posteriorly. Concave anteriorly and convex posteriorly. Next, the highest point of the iliac crest is at the level of interval between 3rd and 4th lumbar spines. So the highest point of the iliac crest, so this is the highest point of iliac crest. This highest point of iliac crest is it is at the level between the lumbar 3 and lumbar 4 spines. So the highest point of iliac crest is coinciding with an interval between third and fourth lumbar spines. Next, ASIS, anterior superior iliac spine. ASIS is nothing but anterior superior iliac spine, is anterior end of iliac crest. Iliac crest. This is iliac crest, not spine, iliac crest. So here, if you see here, this is iliac crest, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This is anterior end of iliac crest. Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This anterior end of iliac crest is called as anterior superior iliac spine. It is called as what? Anterior superior iliac spine. The anterior end of iliac crest is called as anterior superior iliac spine, which is subcutaneous. You can feel it. You can feel it if you place your finger, there is a pointing at the, in the groin region. You can feel it. This is anterior superior iliac spine. This anterior superior iliac spine, it will receive the attachment of the inguinal ligament. It receives attachment of inguinal ligament, and not only that, this anterior superior iliac spine, it is also giving attachment to a muscle which is called as sartorius. Sartorius is a muscle of anterior compartment of thigh. Anterior compartment of thigh. So the sartorius muscle and the inguinal ligament, these two are attached to anterior superior iliac spine. Is there, everybody?
Yes, sir.
So this anterior superior iliac spine is nothing but which is the anterior end of iliac crest, and this is providing attachment to a ligament and a muscle. The ligament is inguinal ligament and the muscle is sartorius muscle, and the muscle is sartorius muscle. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then what is this PSIS? Posterior superior iliac spine. Posterior superior iliac spine. This one. The posterior end of iliac crest. See, till now we have discussed about this one. This is anterior superior iliac spine, and this is posterior superior iliac spine. This posterior superior iliac spine is posterior end of iliac crest.
Iliac crest.
Posterior end of iliac crest. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Next, we will talk about the iliac crest. This iliac crest, if you see here, everybody, this is iliac crest. See, this is anterior end, this is posterior end, and this entire thing is the iliac crest. Now, this iliac crest, if you see, this iliac crest is divided into anterior 2/3, is divided into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. Is it clear? This entire
Yes.
iliac crest, if you see, this point is, this is anterior superior iliac spine. This is the posterior superior iliac spine. This is anterior superior iliac spine. This is posterior superior iliac spine. Between this anterior end and the posterior end, this is iliac crest. Now, this entire iliac crest is divided into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So this entire iliac crest is divided into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. Okay. So now we will discuss this anterior 2/3 is also called as ventral segment. This anterior 2/3 is also called as this one. Now I am putting it very clear. This one. This is anterior 2/3, which is also called as ventral segment. This posterior 1/3 is called as dorsal segment. Now we will talk about anterior 2/3 of iliac crest, which is the ventral segment. Now this anterior 2/3 of iliac crest, which is also called as ventral segment. Now this is divided into three, which is divided into outer lip. This is outer lip. This is inner lip. And this is intermediate area. Now here you can see, this is the iliac crest. Everybody, look at this picture on the slide. Are you able to see the picture on the slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See, this is the iliac crest which you are seeing from top. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You are viewing this from top. So here, this entire iliac crest. Now this is the posterior end of iliac crest, which is called as posterior superior iliac spine. And this is the anterior end of iliac crest, which is anterior end of iliac crest, which is called as anterior superior iliac spine. Now this is the iliac crest. Okay. So this iliac crest is divided into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. Anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. So up to here, anterior 2/3, and from here it is posterior 1/3. Now this anterior 2/3 of the iliac crest is again divided into, see this one. This is one lip, which is called as the outer lip. This is the inner lip, and this is the intermediate area. The outer border is called as outer lip. The inner border is called as the inner lip, and the area between these two lips is called as the intermediate area. So this anterior 2/3 is divided into inner lip, an outer lip, and an intermediate area. Now what is this outer lip? This outer lip, this one is outer lip. This is the outer lip. This outer lip, there is a tubercle of iliac crest situated on 5 centimeters behind anterior superior iliac spine. So this is anterior superior iliac spine, yes or no? This is anterior superior iliac spine. So just 5 centimeters behind this anterior superior iliac spine, you are seeing a tubercle here. This tubercle is called as, this is the tubercle of iliac crest. This is the tubercle of iliac crest. So on the outer lip, this is the outer lip, this is the inner lip, and this is intermediate area. I'm talking about the ventral segment. Entire iliac crest is divided into anterior 2/3, posterior 1/3. This anterior 2/3 of the iliac crest is also called as ventral segment, and this ventral segment is divided into a outer lip, a inner lip, and an intermediate area. Now this is the diagram which you are seeing like this. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So this entire thing is anterior 2/3, and this part is posterior 1/3. So this anterior 2/3 I'm explaining you, which has got an outer lip, a inner lip, and intermediate area. The outer lip contains a tubercle of iliac crest, which is present about 5 centimeters behind the anterior superior iliac spine. This one. And not only that, this entire extent of this outer lip, it will give attachment to the fascia lata. It is not lata, it is fascia lata. We call it as lata, L-A-T-A. Okay, fascia. What is it?
Lata.
Fascia lata. Then tensor fascia latae is a muscle which takes origin in front of the iliac tubercle. This one. So in front here, can you see here this one? So tensor fascia lata will take origin along the outer lip in front of the crest, tubercle of iliac crest, tensor fascia lata. Then not only that, the external oblique muscle is inserted on its anterior 2/3. So on the outer lip, you see one more muscle also, which is called as the external oblique muscle, which is one of the flat muscles of abdomen. So this external oblique muscle is inserted along the outer lip of the iliac crest. So entire outer lip is giving attachment to a fascia, which is called as fascia lata. In front of the tubercle of iliac crest, it is giving origin from the tensor fascia latae muscle. Not only that, this outer lip is also giving insertion to a muscle which is called as external oblique muscle. External oblique muscle. And not only that, the latissimus dorsi muscle, it takes origin just behind its highest point. Just behind its highest point. Highest point it is at the level between what?
Interval between third
L4
and
and
fourth lumbar spines.
Spines. So just behind that highest point of what you call the iliac crest, you are seeing the outer lip is giving origin for the fibers of latissimus dorsi. So on the outer lip, on the outer lip of the iliac crest, you are seeing tensor fascia latae muscle is taking origin. External oblique external oblique muscle is inserted, and not only that, latissimus dorsi muscle is also taking origin from the outer lip of the iliac crest on its anterior 2/3. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear? May I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, do not get confused. This entire thing is outer lip.
Yes, sir.
This is outer lip. This is inner lip. When you see the bone, you will be very, you can, this is outer lip, which is lateral side. This is inner lip. This is inner lip. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
This is outer lip. This is inner lip. And this area is intermediate area. This is anterior superior iliac spine. This is inner lip. This is outer lip. This is intermediate area. And up to here, we call it as anterior 2/3. And this is, and the posterior most area, this is the posterior 1/3. I'm talking about this anterior 2/3 of iliac crest. Outer lip I have discussed. I have to discuss about inner lip and intermediate area. On the outer lip, the whole extent of outer lip will give attachment to the fascia lata. Then the tensor fascia lata muscle takes origin in front of the tubercle of iliac crest. Iliac crest tubercle is present just 5 centimeters behind the anterior superior iliac spine. Then external oblique muscle is inserted on the outer lip of iliac crest, and latissimus dorsi muscle will take origin just behind its highest point on the outer lip of anterior 2/3 of the iliac crest. Then the intermediate area. The intermediate area is this one. The intermediate area will give origin to a muscle which is the internal oblique muscle. Internal oblique muscle. Internal oblique muscle, again, it is a muscle of abdomen. It's a muscle of abdomen. So intermediate area, the whole extent of the intermediate area in anterior 2/3 of the iliac crest, it gives origin for internal oblique muscle. Then the inner lip. The inner lip is this one. This is the inner lip. This is entire thing is the inner lip. This is outer lip. This is inner lip. This is intermediate area. The inner lip anterior 2/3 provides attachment to transversus abdominis. Transversus abdominis is again, it is a muscle of abdomen, anterior wall of abdomen. So this anterior wall of abdomen is made up of three muscles: internal oblique, from outside to inside, external oblique, internal oblique, transversus abdominis. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the inner lip, the anterior 2/3 provides attachment to a muscle which is the transversus abdominis, fascia transversalis, and fascia iliaca. Fascia iliaca. Not only that, it also provides attachment to the muscle which is quadratus lumborum and thoracolumbar fascia. Thoracolumbar fascia. Now everybody please concentrate on this inner lip. This inner lip of the iliac crest, if you see, the anterior 2/3 of inner lip will give origin to transverse abdominis. The posterior 1/3 of this inner lip will give origin for the quadratus lumborum. Along with these two muscles, this inner lip is also providing attachment to the fascias like fascia transversalis, fascia iliaca, then thoracolumbar fascia. Thoracolumbar fascia, which was not denoted in this diagram, but here we are highlighting only the muscles. Okay, so along the outer lip, you have a fascia which is called as fascia lata. Along the inner lip, we have three fascias attached. Anteriorly, it is attached to the fascia transversalis and fascia iliaca. Posteriorly, it is attached, it is giving attachment to the thoracolumbar fascia. And the intermediate area, there is no fascia attached. It is only giving attachment purely to the muscle, which is internal oblique muscle. So all these are the muscles which are attached to the anterior 2/3 or the ventral segment of the iliac crest. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the ventral segment or the anterior 2/3 of the iliac crest is divided into outer lip, inner lip, intermediate area. And you know what are all the muscles attached to the outer lip, intermediate area, and inner lip. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Then
Yes,
what is left over? Is the iliac crest is over, or we need to discuss anything more?
Posterior 1/3.
Absolutely right. The posterior 1/3, now this one, this area. The posterior 1/3 of the iliac crest is divided. The posterior 1/3 is also called as what?
dorsal segment.
Dorsal segment.
Very good. The posterior 1/3 of the iliac crest is also called as the dorsal segment. This one. This one. This posterior 1/3 of the iliac crest is also called as a dorsal segment, and this is divided into two slopes. One is the medial slope. Number two is the lateral slope. If you see here, it is having two slopes. This is one slope, sloping area. This is one sloping area which is lateral slope. This is one sloping area which is medial slope. So the posterior 1/3 of the iliac crest is divided into two sloping areas. One is the lateral sloping area. Number two is the medial sloping area. And the lateral sloping area will give origin to a muscle which is called as gluteus maximus, and the medial sloping area which will give origin to a muscle which is erector spinae. Erector spinae. Can you see in the picture also?
Yes, sir.
This is a medial sloping area, inner side. This is lateral sloping area, outer side, because this is outer lip. So this is lateral sloping area, which gives origin to gluteus maximus muscle. This is inner sloping area or medial sloping area, which gives origin to the erector spinae muscle. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
This is all about the iliac crest, upper end. Is it okay, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Till anybody are in confused? Of course, if you are in confused, do not get worried about this. Once open your books and see the posterior part of the hip bone, you will get an idea. And though if you are in doubt, then you can post your doubt in my personal WhatsApp so that I can make you clear about that. And then also, if it is not, it is better to physically see the bone, and which is not possible right now with you guys to physically see the bone. It happens only once when you come back to the college, and we will try to make your doubts clear, especially in making the bone hold in position and its determination when you come back to college. Okay, but your responsibility is to study about the features and attachments of that bone. But in order to identify its site and to know its anatomical position, definitely we will help out once when you come back to the college, and there we take a special session on the osteology to physically explain you the site determination and the anatomical position of each and every bone, which we are teaching in this virtual meetings. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is all about the iliac crest. So this upper end of the ilium is called as iliac crest, and this iliac crest is divided into anterior 2/3, posterior 1/3. Anterior 2/3 is again divided into outer lip, inner lip, intermediate area. The dorsal segment, which is called as posterior 1/3, is divided into outer sloping area and inner sloping area. Outer sloping area is lateral sloping, inner sloping is called as a medial sloping, where it gives origin to two muscles. The outer sloping or lateral sloping will give origin for the gluteus maximus. The medial sloping or inner sloping will give origin for the erector spinae muscles. This is all about the iliac crest. Then iliac crest is nothing but upper end of the ilium. This is upper end of the ilium. So this upper end of the ilium is called as iliac crest, and already I have discussed each and every point of the iliac crest. Now what is the next thing is lower end. Now what is this lower end? The lower end of the ilium, if you see, it reaches acetabulum and forms its upper 2/5. See, this is what is this fossa?
Acetabular fossa.
The lower end of the ilium, it forms 2/5 of this acetabulum. 2/5 of this acetabulum. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So the lower end of the ilium reaches the acetabulum and forms it upper 2/5. So the 2/5 of the acetabulum is formed by the upper 2/5 of the acetabulum is formed by lower end of the ilium. Lower end of the ilium. Is it clear, everybody? Is it clear?
Yes,
Sir.
Yeah. That's all about the lower end of the ilium. So ends are over. What are left over?
Surface.
So ilium has got two ends, three borders, and two surfaces. Two ends I have discussed. One is upper end, which is called as iliac crest, I have explained. The lower end also I told you that, which takes part in the formation of the acetabulum. Okay. The upper 2/5 of the acetabulum is formed by the lower end of the ilium. Now we will talk about the borders. As I said, this ilium has got three borders. One is anterior border. This is the posterior border. And medially we have, this is the medial border. This is the medial border. So we have three borders. Anterior border, it extends from anterior superior iliac spine to the acetabulum. So this is anterior superior iliac spine. So from anterior superior iliac spine to the acetabulum, this border is called as anterior border. This border is anterior border. And here, this, in the anterior border, you are seeing one elevation, this one. Can you see here, this one?
Yes.
This one. This is anterior superior iliac spine. Now what is this?
Anterior inferior iliac spine.
Very good. Anterior inferior iliac spine. And this anterior inferior iliac spine will give origin for a muscle which is called as straight head of rectus femoris. Straight head of
Rectus femoris.
straight head of rectus femoris. Not only that, this anterior inferior iliac spine, it also gives attachment to a ligament of hip joint, which is iliofemoral ligament. Iliofemoral ligament. Anterior superior iliac spine is giving attachment to what?
Sartorius muscle
Ah,
and inguinal ligament.
Ligament.
inguinal ligament. Inguinal ligament. Is it clear?
Yes.
Inguinal ligament. Anterior inferior iliac spine is also giving attachment to a muscle, a ligament. The muscle is rectus femoris. Straight head of rectus femoris. Ligament is iliofemoral ligament. Ligament is what?
Iliofemoral.
Iliofemoral ligament, which is a ligament of which is the strongest ligament of the body and which is a ligament of hip joint. So that's all. The lower half is convex and called as anterior inferior iliac spine, AIIS. This is about the anterior border. Coming to the posterior border. The posterior, this one. This is a posterior border. This is anterior border. Everybody, follow the cursor. This is anterior border and this is the posterior border. The posterior border extends from posterior superior iliac spine to the upper end of posterior border of ischium. Can you see it? This is ischium. This blue color thing. Everybody, this is
Yes.
ischium. So from here, this is the posterior border. So the posterior border is extending from the posterior superior iliac spine to the upper border of the ischium. To the upper border of the ischium. The upper posterior border of the ischium. You call this border as the posterior border of the ilium. Its lower part contributes to apex, upper margin, and upper half of the lower margins of greater sciatic notch. Can you see this notch?
Yes, sir.
This notch.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you see? This notch is called as greater sciatic notch. What is this called as?
Greater sciatic notch.
Greater sciatic notch. So this posterior border, if you see this posterior border is contributing the apex of greater sciatic notch. This is apex. Okay. This is the upper margin. Yes. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And this is a lower margin. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is upper half of lower margin. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this posterior border of the ilium is contributing apex of sciatic notch, upper margin of sciatic notch, upper half of lower margin of greater sciatic notch. So this posterior border of the hip bone of the ilium is forming upper margin of the greater sciatic notch, apex of the greater sciatic notch, upper half of the lower margin of the greater sciatic notch. All these things are formed by the posterior border of the ilium. Not only that, this posterior border, it gives origin to the piriformis muscle. It gives origin to the piriformis muscle from the upper margin of greater sciatic notch. This is upper margin, yes or no? So from the upper margin of greater sciatic notch, you see a muscle will take origin, which is piriformis. And not only that, the junction of greater sciatic notch and upper part of posterior border is marked by posterior inferior iliac spine here. The junction of what? The junction of
Greater sciatic notch.
the junction of greater sciatic notch and upper part of posterior border. This one. The junction of this posterior border and this greater sciatic notch, it is marked by a tubercle or a spine which is called as posterior inferior iliac spine. Posterior inferior iliac spine. This is posterior superior iliac spine and this is posterior inferior iliac spine. Likewise, this is anterior superior iliac spine. This is anterior inferior iliac spine. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
So this is posterior superior iliac spine. This is posterior inferior iliac spine. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then we are talking about the medial border. So till now we have discussed about the anterior border. You can see in this is the anterior border. This is the posterior border. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is upper end. This is lower end. And this border, can you see this one?
Medial border.
This is the medial border. This is the medial border. So the medial border, this one, this is the medial border. So this is the lateral surface. This is the medial surface. Is it clear? So in the medial surface, you are seeing this is the medial border. This is the medial border. So this medial border extends from the iliac crest to the iliopubic eminence here. This is the iliopubic eminence. So from the iliac crest, this medial border will take its line and it will extend up to the iliopubic eminence on inner surface of the ilium. This is the iliopubic eminence. In the bone also, this is the iliopubic eminence. This border intervenes between the iliac fossa and sacropelvic surface of the ilium. So this surface is iliac fossa. And this surface, which is called as the sacropelvic surface. Now here also, this is the pelvic surface, or this is called as the iliac fossa, and this is called as the sacropelvic surface. Sacropelvic. So between the sacropelvic surface and the iliac fossa, you will see this border will be intervening. So this medial border will be intervening between the sacropelvic surface and this iliac fossa. So this is iliac fossa. So this is a medial view of the hip bone you are seeing. So this is the medial border. In front of the medial border, this is called as the iliac fossa. Posterior to the medial border, this surface is called as the sacropelvic surface of the ilium. The lower part of the medial border continues as arcuate line, this one. The medial border continues down as arcuate line, So in front of the medial border, there is a depression which is called as the iliac fossa. Posterior to the medial border, there is also surface which is called as sacropelvic surface, and the lower part of the medial border continues down as the arcuate line, as an arcuate line. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then we have done with the borders also. Anterior border, posterior border, medial border. Then leftover things are surfaces. So we have two surfaces. One is the lateral surface. Number two is the medial surface. The lateral surface, if you will talk about the lateral surface, this lateral surface is also called as gluteal surface. Now you are seeing on the slide also, this is lateral surface. This is the acetabular fossa and this is the ilium. So on the ilium, the lateral surface you are seeing. The lateral surface of the ilium is also called as the gluteal surface. It is also called as what? Gluteal surface. Next, it is outer surface. Yes, absolutely it is outer surface. The medial surface is inner surface. The lateral surface is outer surface. The gluteal surface is outer surface. It is convex in front and concave behind. So in front, if you see, it is convex. Behind, if you see, it is concave. You can see, in front it is convex, behind it is concave. This lateral surface is convex in front, concave. It is concave behind. Next, this is most important. Everybody please focus over here. It is divided into 4 areas by 3 lines. It is divided into 4 areas by 3 lines. If you see here, can you see these lines?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it has got 3 lines. One is the posterior line. This is the posterior gluteal line. This is the posterior gluteal line. This is the anterior gluteal line. And this is the inferior gluteal line. So how many lines we have?
3 lines.
We have 3 lines. One is anterior gluteal line. Number 2 is posterior gluteal line. Number 3 is inferior gluteal line. Now here, most of you people do not get confused. Okay. See, this is posterior gluteal line. This is anterior gluteal line. This is inferior gluteal line. The most anterior line is not anterior line. The first line is not anterior line. This line is inferior line. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The second line, this is anterior gluteal line. The posterior most line is posterior line. the posterior most. See, if you hold the bone in position, then only it will be very easy to identify. Okay. The most anterior line is not anterior, it is inferior. The most posterior is posterior line. In between the posterior and the inferior, there is one line which is called as anterior line. It is called as anterior line. So this lateral surface is also called as gluteal surface, and this surface is dividing the entire what do you call this gluteal surface into 4 areas by 3 lines. The 3 lines are inferior gluteal line, anterior gluteal line, posterior gluteal line. In the slide also you can see this is inferior gluteal line. This is anterior gluteal line, and this is the posterior gluteal line. See, posterior, anterior, inferior. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, how many areas you are seeing? This is area 1, which is in front of the, what is this line?
Inferior gluteal.
Inferior gluteal line.
Inferior gluteal line. What is this area? Between what and what lines?
Inferior gluteal line and anterior.
Anterior gluteal line.
This is area number 2. What is this area? Between what and what lines?
Anterior and
Anterior gluteal line and posterior gluteal line.
Posterior gluteal.
And the area which is posterior to the posterior gluteal line is the area number 4. So we have 4 areas. Yes or no? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this entire, and see, this is area number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this entire lateral surface or entire this gluteal surface is divided into 4 areas by 3 lines. And already I told you 3 lines are inferior gluteal line, anterior gluteal line, posterior gluteal line. Now, what are the muscles you see in this area? Now, everybody, please, the gluteus maximus muscle will take origin from the area behind the posterior gluteal line here. What muscle?
Gluteus maximus.
Gluteus maximus muscle will take origin from the area which is present behind the posterior gluteal line. See, gluteus medius is a muscle which takes origin between posterior gluteal line and anterior gluteal line, this area. What muscle?
Gluteus medius.
Gluteus medius, very good. Gluteus minimus will take origin between anterior gluteal line and inferior gluteal line. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
May I repeat once again?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See, gluteus maximus muscle will take origin from the area behind posterior gluteal line, this area. Gluteus maximus. Okay? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next is gluteus medius. Gluteus medius muscle will take origin from the area between posterior gluteal line and anterior gluteal line. Gluteus medius. Then gluteus minimus will take origin from the area between anterior gluteal line and the inferior gluteal line, this area. So gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, gluteus minimus. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then the area, the area in front of the gluteus inferior gluteal line, the area in front of the inferior gluteal line, this area will give origin to the reflected head of rectus femoris muscle. Reflected head of rectus femoris. Straight head of rectus femoris is taking origin from
Anterior border.
Anterior, inferior.
Inferior iliac spine.
very good. And this is anterior inferior iliac spine. This one. Yes or no?
Yes.
So from the anterior inferior iliac spine, you are seeing the straight head of rectus femoris muscle will take origin. From the area below the inferior gluteal line, this area will give origin for the reflected head of rectus femoris muscle. Rectus femoris muscle. So majority of the gluteus muscles, the gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, gluteus minimus, all these muscles are taking origin from the lateral surface of the ilium, so that the lateral surface of the ilium is also called as gluteal surface. It is just because the gluteal muscles are taking origin from the lateral surface of the what? Ilium.
Ilium.
So that the lateral surface of the ilium is also called as gluteal surface. How many areas you are seeing in the lateral surface?
4 areas.
4 areas.
How many lines you are seeing?
3 lines.
3 lines.
3 lines.
3 lines.
Yeah, 3 lines are dividing the lateral surface into 4 areas. The 3 lines are posterior gluteal line, anterior gluteal
Anterior,
line, inferior gluteal.
inferior gluteal line.
Okay, do not get confused. Again, I'm telling you, the most anterior line is not called as anterior. The most anterior line is called as inferior. The middle line is called as anterior. And the most posterior line is called as posterior. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And I told you the muscles taking origin from the areas also. The area posterior to the posterior gluteal line will give origin for the gluteus maximus. The area between posterior gluteal line and anterior gluteal line will give origin for the gluteus medius. The area between the anterior gluteal line and inferior gluteal line will give origin for the gluteus minimus. And the area in front of the inferior gluteal line will give origin for the reflected head of rectus femoris. That's all about the lateral surface. And next, the medial surface. If you see the medial surface of the ilium, as you know that this has got two fosses. One is, this is the iliac fossa, and this is a sacropelvic surface, which is divided by what border?
Medial border.
Very good, medial border. So this is the medial border. So this medial border is dividing this medial surface of ilium into
Iliac fossa.
Iliac fossa.
and
Sacropelvic.
sacropelvic surface. Very good. The iliac fossa, if you see, the iliac fossa, it is present in front of the medial border. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
It is present in front of the medial border. This is medial border. So in front of the medial border, you are seeing the iliac fossa. What is the shape of iliac fossa? It is convex or concave?
Concave.
Concave.
Concave. And not only that, this iliac fossa will give origin to a muscle which is called as iliacus, which gives origin to a muscle which is called as iliacus. Is it clear? Iliacus.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This is about the iliac fossa. Next, sacropelvic surface. If you see, this is a sacropelvic surface. This is a sacropelvic. See, this is medial border. This is iliac fossa. This is the sacropelvic surface. This entire thing is the sacropelvic surface. Okay. And this sacropelvic surface is in front of the medial border or behind the medial border?
Behind the
Behind the medial.
Behind the medial border.
Behind the medial border. And this sacropelvic surface has got 3 parts. One is iliac tuberosity. One is the iliac tuberosity. Number 2 is the articular surface. Number 3 is the pelvic surface. The iliac tuberosity is nothing but which is a rough surface. Here, this one. This is a rough surface, which is called as iliac tuberosity. It is a rough area. It is a rough area. And not only that, this iliac tuberosity, it gives attachment to the sacroiliac ligament. It gives attachment to what ligament?
Sacroiliac ligament.
Sacroiliac ligament.
It gives attachment to the sacroiliac ligament. And not only that, this is a rough surface. This is a rough surface. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
this iliac tuberosity, not only it gives attachment to the sacroiliac ligament, it also gives attachment to iliolumbar ligament. Iliolumbar ligament, which extends from ilium to lumbar vertebra. Iliolumbar ligaments are also attached to this, this area of the ilium, which is the iliac tuberosity. So iliac tuberosity is a rough area which is giving attachment to what ligament? One is sacroiliac ligament. Number two is iliolumbar ligament. Next, this is the articular surface. This one. This surface is articular surface. Now this articular surface, what does it do? Articular means what?
Articulation.
With what?
Attachment.
Sacrum.
Very good. This articular surface is situated antero-inferior to?
Iliac tuberosity.
It is present antero-inferior to iliac tuberosity. You are seeing this surface, which is called as articular surface. And this articular surface, it articulates with the sacrum and forms what joint?
Iliosacral joint.
No, you reverse it.
Sacroiliac.
Sacroiliac.
Very good. It forms sacroiliac joint. So this articular surface of the ilium, it articulates with the sacrum and forms sacroiliac joint. Okay. Then can you see this surface? Can you see this surface?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This surface is called as what? Pelvic surface. It is called as pelvic surface. So this pelvic surface is present antero-inferior to?
Articular surface.
Articular surface
of ilium.
Very good. See, the articular surface is present antero-inferior to iliac tuberosity. Okay. Antero-inferior to this articular surface, this surface is called as the pelvic surface. This surface is called as the pelvic surface. And this pelvic surface, it gives attachment to a muscle which is called as obturator internus. Obturator internus. Obturator internus. This surface. This surface is pelvic surface, and this pelvic surface will give attachment to the obturator internus. And not only that, few fibers of piriformis also arise from this pelvic surface of the ilium. Pelvic surface of the medial surface of the ilium. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is all about the medial surface. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is all about the ilium. So ilium, we have discussed about the ilium, like which is a upper fan shaped part of the hip bone, which has got two ends, upper end, lower end. Upper end is also called as iliac crest. Lower end will take part in the formation of upper part of 2/5 of the acetabulum. It has got three borders: anterior border, posterior border, medial border. Okay. It has got two surfaces. One is lateral surface or gluteal surface, and then medial surface. Medial surface is again further divided into iliac fossa, which gives origin for the iliacus muscle. Then the other surface is called as the sacropelvic surface, which is further divided into iliac tuberosity, articular surface, and pelvic surface. These are all the features and attachments of the ileum. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think few people have been put in confusion because, as I said, physically holding a bone and studying is different from the virtual studies what we are doing in this pandemic situation. But please do not get disoriented. Once open the book right now after this session, have a break, take a coffee or a tea, whatever you prefer. Then once open the osteology part of the lower limb, open the hip bone and study about it. Definitely, I I I hope you will follow, and I hope you will understand whatever the things what we have discussed now on the hip bone. The part of the hip bone which we discussed is ilium, and the next session we will discuss about the hip, the pubis and the ischium, which are the rest of the hip bone parts. With that, we will conclude the session of the hip bone. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I hope it was little bit lengthy. I think you understood. Only a single part of the hip bone took almost all 1 hour 15 to 20 minutes, and the remaining pubis and the ischium will take more 1 hour. So it will be very lengthy to take that class and make you all people attentive, right? It was very difficult also. So that's the reason I made it into 2 sessions. So first session is ilium that we have discussed now. And in the coming sessions, we will discuss about the pubis and ilium. So before that, I request all you people to please open the book and please study about the hip bone and especially on the ilium, and that will really make you feel comfortable. Before we go into depth of the other parts of the hip bone, you should be able to be very comfortable with the ilium. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And if you have any doubts, please post me to my personal WhatsApp number. Definitely, we will discuss it and we'll see that that will get rectified. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Now you can leave the session.